Hello, my name is Ben.
And my name is Josh.
And welcome back to FPL Graduates. Now, today, England are playing. The FPL Graduates are live. The FPL is just around the corner. I mean, it's getting closer to, normality, I guess, with FPL.
Yeah, I don't know about everyone else, but the international break has not been fun for me. I've barely even watched England play. It's just no interest, but we're nearly there. We've nearly made it. Saturday's round the corner, and what a blockbuster day it is, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, everything in FPL went down today. There was players who couldn't come back from international duty. There's been players who have been, not allowed to play this weekend. The Premier League's been all over the place trying to get these players to be able to play. It's been an absolute madness, but we're here now to tell you, who the best captain picks are going to be for game week 4.
Yeah, 100%. We need to nail it down because there's loads of big names that might be injured as well, which is a massive key talking point that we'll come on to. So we're going to go look and basically just reel off the main captains so far. So it's all dependent on everyone's team because obviously who has Ronaldo, who has Salah, who has Lukaku, it's all dependent. So, Ben, who are you going to captain this week and who have you thought about this week as well?
So, in terms of my captaincy choices, I've had 3 players in mind. The first of which being Antonio, the player on form, the player who's looking good right now. Mo Salah and Bruno Fernandes. My captaincy is currently on Mohamed Salah, and that was before all the Brazilian fiasco happened. And we know in that Liverpool team, there's a few Brazilians that are quite important to that squad. So it could change by the time the deadline happens. But yeah, at the moment, it's on Mo Salah. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, for me, I'm in the same boat, but a lot could change by Friday. I'm obviously waiting for a few press conferences. I think everyone is, as there's loads of different things that are happening. Lukaku is picked up a thigh injury on international duty. Son's picked up a calf injury on international duty. They're the main two. Obviously, the rumours of Ronaldo, the Sun leaking that he's not going to play, and then the same day he's training and stuff like that. So there's loads of rumours going around, as expected. There's not a lot of news really going on in a minute, especially after the transfer window, where there's just so many people breaking news all the time. There's not much happening at the minute. So, yeah, Salah at the minute. But like you said, the Brazilians aren't in that team are probably, I'd argue, the most important players in that team, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's the core of their team, effectively. We know what happened to Liverpool when they lost Alisson, Their goalkeeper backups, they'll probably have that Kelleher from Ireland in goal, probably rather than Adrian. He's a good keeper, but he's no Alisson, is he? And then Fabinho as well. I mean, he is key for them. And there's also rumours as well. Robertson's played so many minutes over the international break. We could see the return of that 4.2 million gem Tsimikas.
Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? Because that Liverpool team it's really going to fall apart. I can't see who replaces Fabinho, really. There's no one who can be that direct replacement for him. He is so good. I'd say he's probably one of the most underrated players in that team. Obviously, it means more minutes for Jota, you'd think, as there's no Firmino. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll bring up some stats right now. These are just the stats so far for the first 3 game weeks. Then the main ones, obviously, Ronaldo isn't in there due to him not actually playing in the first 3 game weeks, but he'll be there in the coming weeks. So Mohamed Salah, we're looking at XG. Mohamed Salah is obviously topping it. He had that great game against Norwich, unluckily blanked against Burnley, but had some great chances. Bruno's in there, obviously. A lot of people selling Bruno, but hey, he might be the man who's starting ahead of Ronaldo, etc. He's going to be the main focal point. Lukaku, again, it's injury, maybe. Is he going to play? Who knows? Obviously, we're going to have to wait for that Tuchel press conference on Friday. Son as well, likewise. I think he's been decent this season, but is he going to be able to play? Obviously, coming back from Asia as well. It's a fair old trek. And then Harry Kane as well. He's playing tonight. He's just coming back into that Spurs team. So obviously, he will be at the bottom of the list as he's not played as many games. If you could captain anyone, Ben, so it goes with Ronaldo, it goes for everyone, who would you be going towards right now?
If we knew who was fit and who wasn't, I'd be very much looking at either Ronaldo or Romelu Lukaku. And I was talking about Romelu Lukaku. His XG, fantastic for his first couple of games against pretty tough opposition as well. I mean, again, Arsenal. I mean, We know we've bantered them a lot, but they're a quality side at the end of the day, spending a lot of money on players, especially in defence. Coming up against potentially Jed Steer in goal, Noemi Martinez. I mean, isn't that an FPL dream? You just think like if he's fit and Martinez can't play, there's goals in that for Lukaku.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. He's a player who I've thought about, don't get me wrong, but I don't see him coming near my team. And it is a massive worry because there's just players there that he needs to be playing with, like Reece James. He obviously won't be in the team this week. It's going to be interesting to see how he's going to get that service, because I think if they play Aspi out there, I don't think he gets that much service compared. But yeah, that injury is a big blow, and especially for Chelsea when they've just started getting into the swing of things with him in the team. For me, I'll be looking at Ronaldo. He could come into my team. I think he starts. I'm not sure why there are rumours why he isn't starting, because he's already come into training this early on. There's a lot of days for him to train. It's not as if he needs to really get used to the team. He's played with like the likes of Bruno and a few other players like Varane in his career. So I think he does come in. I think he starts. And if we move on to a little bit of other data from Drafthound, he has got a 70% chance to score if he starts, Ben. That is huge.
Yeah, that's one of the highest I think we've ever seen a player be in terms of percentage. But it's interesting to see as well Edison Cavani up there, and even a couple of the Arsenal boys as well. You probably wouldn't expect them to be so high up there, but remember they are playing Norwich, and they didn't look too great, Norwich, in the opening sort of 3 fixtures. So bearing it in mind, I mean, you probably won't want to touch Arsenal assets anyway, but it's very interesting to see like how highly all of the Manchester United boys are. They're kind of high percentage for them to get a very big win at the weekend.
Yeah, they're also the favourites to score over 2.5 goals, so you can understand why they're up there. I think Bruno, for me, that if Son is injured this week, I will be transferring him out. It's almost like a blessing in disguise, because if Son does go out and he is injured, I will transfer him out, and I'll bring out Ings as well, which will allow me to move to Ronaldo and Sarr and a £6 million midfielder. So I could potentially have double United, and they are 2 of the top 3 players in the scoring charts in terms of actually starting as well, because obviously Cavani is unlikely to start if Ronaldo is. So yeah, it could be a blessing in disguise, but obviously United do go on a tougher run after this Newcastle game, so maybe not for the long term, but certainly this week it could be decent. Is there anyone that's your transfers wise? I know you said last week you're banking it. Is there anyone you've been targeting with like all these injuries and potential things that are happening?
I think, I want a Wolves defender in realistically, but the feeling is that I don't want to make too many defensive transfers so early on in the season. So it kind of leaves me kind of like, it's more players I want to get out rather than players that I want to bring in at this point in time. Mara is still somehow sticking around in my team for the foreseeable future, especially if Jesus can't play at the weekend. So, the targets are Ronaldo, Lukaku game week 7. And other than that, I don't think there's, anyone that I don't have that I deem essential unless, Spurs get into a massive vein of form against some tough opposition, which I can't really see happening personally.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting with Spurs. I think they're the assets that will definitely be going under the radar, and rightly so, because the assets that are being talked about have been performing. A lot of people saying Kane is going to be a better option than Ronaldo. Obviously, time will tell. But I think Ronaldo currently, even if he gets like 40 minutes, 30 minutes against Newcastle, I'd almost bet my house, if I had a house, on him scoring a goal against Newcastle. They look pretty woeful at the back, and I don't think they've yet to keep a clean sheet, to be honest. And especially in that West Ham game, they just didn't look good. They looked okay going forward, but defensively, there's always issues. They haven't improved on that defense since last season, so that's where we're going to be targeting.
Yeah, I've got to say that the fact that it's Ronaldo's homecoming and everything, everything points in the direction of Manchester United to pull out a big win, like we've seen them do before. It's not like they don't do it regularly. They regularly score over 2.5 goals in the league against some opposition who are not quite as good. Whether they can keep a clean sheet against them, that's another thing. We know United struggle to keep clean sheets at times, so it's kind of in the balance there. But should we move on to the next segment?
Yeah, let's go for it. Right, so we'll bring it up now. We're going to look at the fixture difficulty, especially over the next few game weeks, because a lot of people have played their wild card already. A lot of people haven't played their wild card. They're looking at game week 7. That was always the plan, I think, for me and you, wasn't it? That to play our wild card, but specifically after game week 7, it's the next international break. So we're going to look at it hopefully through like the best attack, and we'll just go from there. And if we need to switch it to a specific team, etc., we'll do that. For me personally, I'm sort of steering clear of the likes of maybe like Chelsea right now. I know Lukaku's in good form. He can score against anyone, but especially the Tottenham City game. Tottenham, like with Nuno there, I think they're a decent defensive team. I don't see him scoring a brace or anything like that. Same with City. We know how good defensive they are. Although Chelsea do get decent results against them, I don't think they'll be able to continue. City just look really, really good to start this season. I know they lost to Spurs, but other than that game, they've looked decent. Jack Grealish is there as well now. Is there anyone that you're targeting or maybe not targeting looking forward into this fixture ticker?
I think what a problem a lot of people have is the triple up on Liverpool assets, and people have Tsimikas and want to get in sort of Jota or someone like that. So I've also seen as well, I really like the look of the Leeds fixtures going forward after that Liverpool game. Obviously, they're a bit far down at the moment. That's purely because of the Liverpool game. Once that Liverpool game's over, you look at the fixture difficulties again, they'll be right up at the top there with some of the fixtures they have. And I've seen a lot of people, wanting to get out Rafinha because he's not playing this week. Guys, you don't need to transfer him out. For me and for a lot of managers, he would have been on the bench anyway this week. I already had him on the bench for a number of days, and that wouldn't have changed even if we knew he was going to play, because Liverpool's a tough fixture for a team like Leeds United. So, guys who are thinking about getting out Rafinha, I'd do everything you can to hold on to him right now because he's going to be a fantastic asset going forwards.
Yeah, 100% agree. I've seen a lot of people comment on my TikTok this afternoon saying who should get out for Rafinha. It's just going to be one game week realistically. So, and even still, it might not even happen. I know Leeds and Liverpool are apparently appealing this whole thing with Brazilian players not playing. So whether they get through or not, I doubt it. But even still, you're probably not really wanting to play him against Liverpool. It's not a high ceiling kind of game, although they do have a few injuries / suspensions themselves at the back. But yeah, after that, Newcastle, we've already mentioned them, how poor they are defensively. West Ham, I don't think they've kept a clean sheet yet this season. Norwich, is it not Norwich? Am I reading the wrong fixtures? I think I'm reading the wrong fixtures. No, I'm not. I'm reading the right ones. West Ham, Watford, my bad. I just looked down a minute.
you just got like the best fixture for game week 4. And I mean, to be honest, look at that Everton fixture against Burnley.
Yeah, I saw you comment on is it FPL Visuals TikTok, and he said about DCL's going to blank against Burnley. Give the guys a stat that you've picked out the air.
So basically, Burnley have conceded the most headed chances in the league out of all the teams in the Premier League, and DCL, what is he known for? Being so good aerially and winning balls in the air and headering. Like, that's just written in the stars. If he is fit, DCL will return against Burnley.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think he will play. Like, him having this whole like nearly 2-week period off. He's been playing with that injury since game week 1 anyway. I don't see how he doesn't start. I think he just didn't go on international break purely just to rest up and be fit for game week 4 is my intention behind that. Again, we'll hear more on Friday. Make sure everyone, if you're struggling for team news, I'm sure most people are with Son, DCL, etc. Make sure you just check out team news. There's team press conferences. If you go onto the team's Twitter, they'll usually be posting news about the team. That's where we find our stuff. So you'll be able to find it there too.
Yeah, so we'll move on again. Given all of that, given what we've said today currently, I want everyone to put in the comments who they think they're going to be captaining this week, reasons why, who you're considering maybe as well. But guys, make sure to leave a comment who your captain is this week. And Josh, what are we thinking then? Are we swayed at all, or are we sticking with the sort of captaincy choices that you started with at the beginning?
For me, I'd be incredibly surprised if I do not captain Ronaldo this week. I think I'm almost certain to bring him in for me personally. If it's just a question of who. I really wanted Ronaldo and Jota in, but obviously I am blocked by Smikas. But I'm not going to take a hit to get Smikas out because the guy I get in, Ben White, he's got a 6-point ceiling realistically. So I just wait a week, play Billy Gilmore or someone like that. He'll get 2 points. It's going to be long term much more better for me. So yeah, Ronaldo is going to be top tier captain. If I do bring him in, obviously a lot of things could change. If I know he's not going to start, that would massively impact my decision. I'd probably go back to Mo Salah. Second is Mo Salah for me, and then third would be Bruno Fernandes. What about yourself?
Yeah, for me, see, I'm swaying back towards Bruno Fernandes right now because I like that Newcastle fixture so much, and everything points to Ronaldo getting some sort of just applause on his own, if you know what I mean. So whether that be coming off the bench or whether that be coming off a little bit earlier than everyone else, I'm kind of leaning towards Bruno Fernandes, but it's obviously very, very much dependent on what that situation is, whether Fabinho and Alisson can play or not. Because I think, Salah against Leeds is a great fixture. And we all know what happened last season. Salah bagged a hat-trick on the first game of last season against Leeds. So, in my opinion, I'd probably say for my team personally, it's like Bruno, Salah, then Antonio. If it's everyone else's team, I'd go probably Ronaldo, Lukaku, and then maybe Salah in there. But wow, there's so many good captaincy options.
Yeah, it's the luxury that we have, isn't it? With having so many premiums. Like we haven't even mentioned really the Spurs or sits. But we'll come into some questions. I know a lot of people are getting aggy about it in the comments. We always do the questions at the end if you're new to this. So we'll answer as many as we can before we end the live stream tonight. When are you going to do your Champions League team? We've been asked about this a load of times. I've made mine, Ben. Have you made yours?
No, I haven't made mine yet. I need to get onto that. That'll be a task for tomorrow, lads.
So I imagine we'll do it at some stage. Thinking about it, there is a game on Monday, so if we probably won't make a YouTube video about it, but we will probably post it on Instagram, maybe even on TikTok. So just look out on those socials for the Champions League stuff.
Let's have a look. James, is it worth getting any Wolves asset in? I mean, Josh, you can talk a bit more on what you think, because I mentioned what I thought about the Wolves asset. What do you think?
Yes, it's really interesting because obviously today we found out that Jimenez might be suspended for the fixtures, which is really interesting for me. He's obviously their main talisman. So where are the goals going to be coming from if he isn't going to be playing? Yeah, it's for 1 week. So obviously short term, that's an issue, but longer term, it won't be. For me, if I'm looking at Wolves, I'm going to look more defensive. I'm not sold on their attack. They've created great numbers. They've created, Adama Traore is a specific example of this. Created great numbers, XG and XA, but there's a reason why they haven't scored in 3 games, and it's because they're not clinical enough. They haven't really gave the chances to the main man who bags them away, and that's Jimenez. He hasn't really had any big chances so far this season. He's looked like more of a creator if you look at the stats, which is interesting. But yeah, for me, I'd go defensively more so, even though they haven't yet to keep a clean sheet as well. I'd lean more defensively, but for me, I think there are better options at the minute. I'd rather wait on Wolves and then jump onto them because they're not going to be that highly owned anyway. I'd rather see them perform and then jump on.
Good. Another question here. Best 6 million midfielder. And this is another interesting one because, Josh, you covered this on one of our TikToks today. There's a few good £6 million options and below. Is there a standout one? Because I can think maybe Ismail Sarr is the one to go for out of these options.
Yeah, I've had the question loads, so I made a TikTok about it. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Just listing all the options and the 6 mil that you could potentially go for. For me, it's between 2 men. It's between Sarr and it's between Demarai Gray. I think Sarr is a better option if you're looking at fixtures. Obviously, Gray's got form. Whether he can continue that is a massive question because we've seen Gray do this. He'll have streaks of a couple of goals and then he'll stop for like the season after that. So it's just whether he can keep consistent and keep forming in that Everton team. For me, Ismail Sarr is the man I'd go for at 6 million. He's got some really, really nice fixtures coming up. for Watford. The likes of, I think, Norwich are in there, Wolves, Newcastle in the next 3, then Leeds, which is also a good game if you're attacking. So, yeah, the next 4 for Watford are very good. So, Sarr is my pick. What about you?
Yeah, I think I've got to go Ismail Sarr because he's potentially on penalties as well now.
Yeah.
Deeney's left, so I think that kind of puts me a bit more on him. And last season he had a great season, so why not Ismail Sarr? And I think he's their most dangerous asset for Watford. I think other Watford assets you got to consider potentially Dennis as an enabler up front. I like the look of him, but yeah, we'll take 1 or 2 more questions here. What are the thoughts on Leeds assets overall? I kind of touched on it and said, look, Rafinha's got to stay in your teams if you've got him, but is that the same for every player? Like, potentially if they've got like a Melier or a Ayling or even, someone further forward, Rafinha, Harrison, Bamford, what are we thinking, Josh?
Yeah, I think if you have them already, knowing they're going to face Liverpool, you'd keep them, especially with Rafinha. Leeds' fixtures after Liverpool are really, really good, as I mentioned earlier, with Newcastle, West Ham, Watford, Southampton. They're really good fixtures. I think you'll see a lot more clean sheets compared to the start. Obviously, yet to keep a clean sheet as well. A lot of people slandering the Melier pick from me and Ben. It will come good. I literally, it's one of those things that it's just a matter of time. He's faced Man United in those first 3. He's got Liverpool this week. Like, I'm not expecting clean sheets against those teams. So yeah, I think you stick with the Leeds boys 100%.
Yeah, should we make this one the last question of the video?
Yeah, we'll get it done.
So, James is asking, should he transfer out Son, and who should I transfer in for Danny Ings? Interesting question. I'll put my thoughts out there first before you come in on this one, Josh. I think for Heung-min Son, I wouldn't transfer him out. The reason being is we saw it last season where Son's potentially injured. He might have had a little strain, a little sprain, like he had in the international break, and he'll come back and he'll score like a haul out of nowhere. He did it, I believe, against Manchester United. He's done it before. I'd probably leave him and just keep him for now, unless in press conferences say otherwise and Nuno says, you know what, he's out for this weekend. I'd keep him in. And who transfer for Danny Ings? If you can't upgrade to someone like Lukaku or Ronaldo, I'd be really intrigued and probably wait again to after the press conferences to transfer someone like DC in.
Yeah. It's interesting because these 2 players that might be coming out of my team this week. So I'm in the same boat as you, James. For me, Son's dependent transfer is all dependent if he plays Palace. If he doesn't play Palace, he'll come out. As the next 3 is going to be Palace. If he doesn't play, then Chelsea, then Arsenal. I don't think they're great fixtures for Spurs. Even the Arsenal game, I think they're going to struggle in that one. I know a lot of people are slandering Arsenal, but they will come good. And then for Danny Ings, it all dependent. If you're making Son and Ings out, you can upgrade to a Lukaku or Ronaldo. If I was going to pick between them, I'd choose Ronaldo. And then you could pick a 6 million midfielder like Ismail Sarr that we just spoke about. If you're going direct for Ings, I agree with Ben. DCL is the man to go for in that £8 million striker spot. There's no one else other than Antonio. And if you haven't got Antonio yet, I'd actually say it's probably a bit too late to get him. I don't know about what you think about Antonio, Ben. His price has hiked up a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think for his price and the fact that Europa League's going to come back into play, I don't think it's probably worth it at this price. I mean, he's risen so much and he's probably due to rise again to probably 8 million. So I'd probably lean towards DCL now. I mean, if you don't have Antonio, what are you doing, first of all? Like, wow. But yeah, does that kind of wrap everything up then?
I think it does. Yeah, we'll try to get through as many of your questions as possible. If you didn't get your question answered, just go into our TikTok comments. We usually answer them pretty much instantly on there. It's probably the best place to just get your questions answered, to be honest.
Yeah.
So thanks everyone for watching.
Yeah, and like Josh said, if we didn't answer your question, like Instagram, like underneath our photos rather than in the DMs, it's probably better because our DMs they're a bit broken. They're not quite working how they're meant to. And on Twitter as well, if we tweet something out, just ask a question underneath it and we'll answer it pretty quickly. But yeah, thanks for watching again. Please like, comment, subscribe, Follow us on all the socials. I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
And we'll see you guys
later. Have a good game week.